Hello, I find myself on the Central Line towards the eastern end, sort of towards the extremities outside Hainault Station, as today on this nice sunny day I ride the line, what is now a shuttle service, as we'll find out in a moment, between here and Woodford as we do secrets of the Hainault shuttle.
This part of the Central Line that goes round in a loop was originally built and operated by the Great Eastern Railway Company with steam trains in 1903. It didn't become part of the Underground until 1948. When that started, it always operated as a shuttle, but in the 1990s through services started running for the first time. But in 2020, it went back to being a shuttle service again, as part of a plan to allow Central Line trains to be refurbished. Other anomalies to occur on this section of track was that it was also used as a testbed for the automatic train operation system in the 1960s, which was then used by the Victoria Line. Also, until 2006, services ended early in the day at 8 p.m. with no trains after that time. So let's take a ride on the shuttle from Hainault to Woodford to see what we can discover. The first fun thing to acknowledge is that Hainault has the shallowest lift on the whole of the Underground.
Because there's like 4 steps there, they've installed this lift here. There's then a button here, and once the door is shut...
Door closing.
It goes through a vertical rise of just 18 inches.
And that's it. And then you exit. Shallowest lift on the Underground.
As the shuttle is every 20 minutes, if you've just missed a train, you've got a bit of a wait. But whilst you do wait on the platform, you can spy the letters of the Great Eastern Railway, GER, in the ironwork, which is very pretty. Also, you get a great view of nearby Hainault Depot. But for a really great bird's eye view that's more fun, hop onto Google 3D Satellite View, where yes, you can see all the trains lined up, but also, over at the back, there are some old preserved units too. Award yourself bonus points if you know what type of stock it is. The first stop after Hainault and the depot on the shuttle is Grange Hill.
This is Grange Hill.
The station building that was built in 1903 is no longer there, as it was destroyed by a bomb in the Second World War, which is why the modern day building looks like this. But it is to the outside of the station we should go to see our next thing.
If you're a fan of the classic school TV drama Grange Hill, be aware this was not filmed here, it's got nothing to do with this Grange Hill. It was actually filmed in Kingsbury in London, in the made-up fictitious borough of Northam. Anyway, if you do come to this Grange Hill, outside the station, come to this bridge here and look down for an incredible view through this tunnel where there's a train coming.
I love this tunnel because you can clearly see that it's twice as high than it needs to be for modern day tube trains, and that's because it's another clue that this was originally built for big trains of the Great Eastern Railway. It looks great, and you can see all the way through it too. Back inside the station, we noted on the timetable board that there are just 3 trains highlighted in red in the morning on weekdays that do go straight through at Woodford, no shuttling back and forth for them. And then, a wander down to the far end of the platform reveals that the stopping board on the other side is not at the end of the platform. What does that mean? Yep, it means that sure enough, when our tube train pulled in, it's shorter than the full length of the platform. Once again, it was built for the spec of the big railway and not modern day tube trains. The next stop is Chigwell, and look, there used to be longer platforms here too. Here they're overgrown. But right next to them is this concrete block which used to have a roundel on it. Now is it me, or does that just mean that you can have some fun with it by adding in your own designs? Also, the canopy poles are of a charming design here, worth checking out, as are the long green wooden benches which look good too. But nothing looks as good as the outside of Chigwell Station, and this is probably the closest you'll ever get to imagine of what Grange Hill Station used to look like. And with the tube map just outside the station, we need to have a quick chat about zones and London boundaries.
I'm outside Chigwell looking at the tube map, seeing that all the stations on the Hainault Loop are in Zone 4, but the 3 Roding Valley, Chigwell, Grange Hill on the shuttle used to be in Zone 5. They were moved a few years back. Now, Roding Valley and Grange Hill are also only just in Essex. Chigwell, that's way in Essex due to the way the boundary with Greater London works. Here's the map.
Yes, the border of Greater London runs right through these parts. Here you can see that Roding Valley is only just within Essex, with the border running past the south of the station. and Grange Hill is only just in Essex too, with the border just to the eastern side. Chigwell, though, is firmly in Essex, and it's not the only thing in common that these three stations have, as we'll find out later. There's also a great view of Chigwell Station if you wander up the side road and go round to the back onto Hainault Road. You can stand on the bridge and look down onto the station and see that it too also has some concrete blocks in place where roundels used to be that are no more. And as I've walked to here, that sets me up nicely to walk to the next station, Roding Valley, because instead of catching the train, there's something really cool to see along the way. Just head up the main road, then turn right down Luxborough Lane, and you'll then get to this point here, where you go over the M11,
and that brings you to here, the halfway point between Chigwell and Roding Valley. Roding Valley, the name of the station, the Valley of Roding, is right here where there's a river, the River Roding, and this, where the Central Line trains go across, an impressive bridge. I'm going to call it a viaduct.
So next you carry on, you walk here, through, under the viaduct, you then cut through a field, and that takes you to the station on the underground that has often been the answer in many pub quizzes' transport round.
Ah yes, Roding Valley. This is actually the station where the Jeff Marshall bin bag shuttle started in secret of the Central Line, but it is also infamously known as being the London Underground's least used station out of all the stations. In fact,
here's the top 10 for the whole tube, and look, Roding Valley, Chigwell and Grange Hill are the top 3. Yes, the Hainault shuttle officially serves the 3 least used stations on the whole of the Underground. Stand on the footbridge and you look down onto the quietest of stations. The rumble of trains you can hear in the distance are actually those to the west of Roding Valley, going up to and coming down from Epping. And that train going south is where we're heading next. Farewell, bin bag in the breeze. Just one stop along, but not before we've peeked out of the window to watch the Hainault branch merge into the Epping branch, and then it's Woodford where this train terminates. Here, the shuttle train goes into a siding where it reverses and forms a service going back towards Hainault. Don't forget though that at Woodford Station there's this fantastic underpass in splendid white tiles with just a dash of red, Central Line red for that added touch.
And at Woodford Station that brings us to the end of Secrets of the Hainault shuttle. The train has gone into the siding and it will reverse back and form the shuttle running every 20 minutes in the opposite direction. Please press subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Loads more on the channel like this. Thanks for watching. Bye.